Citizens of Mecklenburg County need to take a better step, a more progressive step, a more consistent step in our community violence here in Mecklenburg County and also Charlotte. Why? Because our kids live in fear each and every day.
Tonight, an effort among law enforcement agencies across the area to address rising youth violence continues.
Yeah, police in Charlotte recently revealed shootings involving juvenile suspects increased by 33% just last year. And we've already seen a number of them in the area this year.
And the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office is part of the effort to tackle youth crime. The sheriff, as you just heard in that video posted to YouTube, saying children live in fear, especially when they're in school.
They are in fear of going to school each day. They don't know who has a gun. They don't know who may come and shoot them. But simply living in fear every day is not what our students are going to school for.
And we have the Sheriff Garry McFadden in studio today. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you all
Sheriff.
so much.
We talk about the youth violence. You were in Washington, D.C. recently.
Yes, it was.
And that was a central part of the conversation. What is the department doing to address this issue?
Well, thank you first for having me. But the Office of, I think, it's not community engagement, it's public engagement by Mr. Benjamin, Steve Benjamin. He was the mayor in Columbia. And he rallied us around the table in the White House to talk about youth violence and how can we partner. But also while we were there, the White House has a new office called the Office for the Prevention of Gun Violence. And so we met with them and said, how can we help? And they asked for our help and our assistance. And we're going to have another meeting very soon on how to tackle this. Not only has it been a problem in Charlotte, but every community in the United States has seen this problem. Every sheriff that I've talked with, they all have the problem of youth violence and guns, and we're going to have to address it.
And can you speak specifically about what you guys are doing? Any programs, funding?
Well, I think that the White House is going to provide funding later on, and they're going to announce some things, and going to let them have that announcement. But they're worried. The president is worried, and that's not a political punt to him, but he's worried. His staff is worried because they're seeing senseless violence across this nation, and they want to do something about it. So when we convened with 6 sheriffs, we had a great conversation. And we know that we have to do more, but we have to be consistent. The town hall meetings are somewhat good, but we have to get into the streets and reach our youth.
We do have local advocates, right, that are working with the youth. What locally, because we hear this, unfortunately, as a theme, keeps on popping up, council meetings, local advocates. What are we doing wrong?
We're not being consistent. And we are not having the meetings with the people who are more subject to the violence or the people who are causing the violence. As we say, we go to the same meeting with the same advocates, the same talking heads, the same groups. But where are the youth? Where are the people who are causing the problem or the people who are the victims of the problem? I talked with a young man last night, and we're going to have a meeting at Johnson C. Smith on April 13th. That's not a plug yet, but we're going to talk about that because we are tired. Yep. And we have mothers calling us and said, what can we do? My program director today said he has 13 calls to say, do you have a program for my son or my daughter or for my youth?
Sheriff, appreciate that answer. Want to talk about concealed carry gun laws and permits. You and I talked about it months ago. Viewers still calling in saying that their permit's about to expire, a year or before their current, before they can get one, I should say. What is being done to try to accelerate those processes?
We are current. The process that nobody wants to tackle is the facilities that we ask for the requests from doesn't have the staffing or manpower to meet the demand. Once we get the paperwork back in the sheriff's office, we have 45 days. They get that mixed up. They think it's 45 days from the time that they apply. No, after we get all of the information from all of the facilities and we put it together, we have 45 days to put that out.
Copy that.
Sheriff, I do want to ask you about a new ordinance. Last night it passed Charlotte City Council. It includes several targeting panhandling, the use to using restrooms outside. And some advocates say flat out this targets the unhoused population. Is there a way to enforce this properly? And your thoughts about this? I know this is a city ordinance.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Imagine creating an ordinance or enforcing an ordinance And that is a simple part of it. I know we'll get some flack behind that. But when these people are charged with the crimes, where will they come? They will come to the Mecklenburg County Detention Center. Who has to house them? We have to house them. We're talking about people with chronic illness, substance abuse, and mental health issues. All of that is going to be placed back into the hands of the Mecklenburg County Sheriff. Now, here's the sad part. If one of those persons die, they're going to point at the sheriff. So when we're talking about helping the people who are less fortunate, the ordinance is a simple thing to enforce. But how are we going to better our city by enforcing laws on people who don't even have the means to even support themselves? I think that everyone, including the sheriff, should have been at the table, but oftentimes the sheriff is not at the table. But at the end of it, the sheriff is going to have to deal with this. It is going to be simple for them to bring the person there in charge. I support Chief Jennings 100%. 100%. We have been partners, and we have a bond that few people understand. And he is a sensible person, and his staff is a great staff, because that's my birthplace of law enforcement. But simply just saying, let's have an ordinance and let's enforce it is simple. But what happens when these people are housed inside my detention center? That is going to be an issue. Funding, services, and treatment. Funding, services, and treatment should also be implemented into this ordinance.
Sheriff Garry McFadden, we've run out of time. We could talk the whole hour with you. We appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Sheriff McFadden here live.